Welcome, professional wrestling fans, to the PW Fan. The PW Fan is a pro wrestling podcast created by fans for fans, and we appreciate you joining us for episode 38. I'm your host, the old school wrestling fan, collector, barber, and musician, the man with too many hobbies, talk wrestling, Tim Gilbert.
And I'm your host, the architect of pro wrestling podcast and Funko Pop collector,
I'm also
Andy.
your host, the no-selling wrestling indie fan and football lover, Jeremy.
All right, so today we are going to be talking about the multiple injuries inside the world of pro wrestling, MJF's pipe bomb promo, Hell in a Cell, and more. Before we get started today, please head on over to our YouTube channel by searching the PW Fan. You're going to find video episodes and our full catalog of episodes. If YouTube's not your thing and you don't care about watching us, just go on over to Apple Podcast or Spotify. And while you're doing all that stuff, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and please leave a review. For t-shirts, if you like the show and want to support the show, prowrestlingtees.com/the PW Fan. And we got pocket logo shirts on there. Maybe we'll get some new designs coming for the year coming up. And just one more thing, guys. If you got any friends that are into wrestling and you want to just tell them about the pod or give us a tweet or a shout out or something, it means so much to us. So thank you so much for supporting and listening to the show. All right. Well, I think that takes care of the introduction stuff. Andy, I'm going to pass it over to you and let you take it from here, sir.
Alrighty, couple things from Raw this week. Well, this week WWE wise was it was like a go home Raw, go home SmackDown for Hell in a Cell, which happened last night. So Raw this week we had a segment with Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. Cody came out into the ring, cut a promo, and then Rollins came out through the stands. Basically said he doesn't like Cody, and Cody pretty much just said, why don't we stop waiting and do this now? And they had a nice little brawl, entertaining brawl. Kept getting pulled apart and then going back together, and just showed that the tensions were high for their upcoming match at Hell in a Cell. I've enjoyed this feud so far, but I'm hoping it's done after that final match. Personally, you don't need 3. You don't need more than 3. We've talked about multiple times about feuds that just keep going and going.
That was a pretty cool segment because
that's
Seth
just
kind of
me
referenced AEW a little bit there, where he was like, "You and your little friends try to tear down what I've built," even though it really wasn't just Seth. But
I just saw something live on Raw that was crazy that happened.
Do you want to say?
Sorry, no spoilers.
Or should we do?
No spoilers.
I mean this whole, this feud's been cool. It's been good, but you don't.
Yeah, and also
past 3.
we'll talk about it later. But how Cody is, I don't think they can go past 3, anyways.
Yeah. Once we actually talk about what happened at Hell in a Cell, but Cody's been in the spotlight since he's gone back, and I know this match is even though we've already seen the pay-per-view, it was announced before, pretty sure online, that it was the main event of the show, because there is no Roman match there. I guess you could have made one of the women's titles be one, but they decided to put. I mean, this has kind of been one of the main
I also guess that it was a
main
event because it was the only Hell in a Cell match on pay-per-view called Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, that's true. And sometimes they have 2. Sometimes they have 2, but I'm surprised they didn't.
That's why I don't know about you guys, but I don't really like when they do
time.
the gimmick pay-per-views like this. Like Money in the Bank's fine because it's going to be every year. But when they do a Hell in a Cell, every feud doesn't need a Hell in a Cell match.
Well,
it's I didn't like the TLC pay-per-views where
it's
they
not
have
just
a chair
that
match,
though.
And then they had a tables match.
I've been telling Andy since 2011. There's these pay-per-views, maybe before, that you basically have your A run of pay-per-view, aka premium live events, or you got your B run. And your A run is like your Royal Rumble, Survivor Series, WrestleMania,
The big four.
SummerSlam. And then you got
SummerSlam
these
and SummerSlam.
shitty filler pay-per-views, which the card a lot of the time is basically just like a glorified Monday Night Raw. It's crazy if you look back at some old Raws and SmackDown where you're like, man, these cards are more stacked than this actual show that people at one point would have been paying for, which is crazy. But yeah, to me, like pay-per-views like we just saw, and we'll get into it more. It's just like, I don't know. It's just like, doesn't it feel better to just wait until the big matches really, like what they do with AEW? They wait until it feels like the bubble's about to burst. Like this match has to happen.
Yeah, because the big four, at least for WWE, always feels so much bigger. So I'm like, why don't they just do those, and then just call like Monday or Friday shows something special?
It feels like filler. So if they could do something to make people not think it was, like, if you knew, like, yeah, these aren't the craziest, the card's not the craziest, but every time one of these shows happens, something crazy happens. Like that I feel like they need like something that makes you want to watch it, you know? Because if other than that, you're like,
Well, I compare to like Black and Gold NXT. There wasn't a takeover every month, but when there was, it was a big deal. They've been building these storylines for like months because it didn't coincide with every main roster pay per view. It was like,
and they would do specials like that aren't takeovers. They would just do whatever on well, I guess now on Tuesday nights, but
doing
it felt like when doing that takeover, it was a much bigger.
I feel like they were able to build stars easier, and people would argue and say that those stars didn't translate on a national platform on like Raw and SmackDown. However, I would argue that they weren't given the same freedom to do what they did in NXT. And also, I don't think that they gave fans the benefit of the doubt of that people were going to know who they were because they were watching NXT. And I know this is taking us on a side tangent, but I just wanted to say it was crazy in Black and Gold NXT how they would have like basically the changing of the guard. Like, so you had 1.0, which was like Seth, and I think Roman was there for a little bit, and then Neville and Bo Dallas, and then it slowly, Biggie. Who else? Like starts from there, and so Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and then Finn Balor, and
Nakamura.
then Nakamura. We get Samoa Joe, then we get into the Adam Cole era. But I remember always thinking how after one of these guys or group of people would get called up from the main roster, I would always be like, damn, NXT just lost all their stars, man. Like, now what are we now? And every single time, dude, there would be a new group of people that were like right there and came along, and I just got maybe sometimes even more excited for them. Like, no, I will not anymore.
Yeah, like I think the best feud I actually remember from the Black and Gold was I remember Bayley and Sasha fighting over that title.
That was awesome.
And then Sasha, I forget the little girl's name who would always go to those events.
They had a ladder match.
Yeah, and she like took her like
Sasha
or whatever and threw it. And I was like, this is like one of the best Sasha Banks I've ever seen.
Speaking,
they talked about that in the evil.
And just to kind of pull it back, because I know that we went on a reminiscing side tangent about Black and Gold NXT, but anyway, I just think that's how you build stars. Is whatever they were doing at that point is. Anytime I felt like somebody was getting old or stale and they left, all of a sudden these like new guys were there, and they just like made it even better. And I don't know, I feel like regular quote unquote WWE, the main roster doesn't do that. Like, it's the same people forever, and then the people that they're trying to like get to work, it doesn't work. But circling back to, because I know we're going to get back to it, just about like women's wrestling and talking about what you were saying about Bayley and Sasha. Man, I know we were kind of saying that this pay-per-view is like one of those like but man, that women's match ruled. I can't wait to talk about that match because that was a good match.
Actually, all
there
the
was like
matches on
some
the card
banger.
weren't bad. There was no like
Performance
bad matches.
wise,
Some
they
I
were
thought
all
that,
like,
I thought there was some. I thought there were some matches that were going to be bad, but they were better than I thought they were. So we'll get into that. I don't know how we got off into all that when all we were talking about was Cody and Seth.
Yeah.
We were talking about
have you guys listened to while we're already sidebarred, we might as well just make a joke about it. There's this new podcast Conrad is doing called Foley is Pod, and I love McFoley. I love McFoley and I love Conrad, but if you guys think that we're bad at like going off on random tangents, holy shit, like he'll ask Mick a question and all of a sudden it is like, how are we talking about this right now? Like, and you feel like the question never gets answered. It is like, I tried listening to it last night and I was like, oh my God, dude, he just went on something for like 30 minutes that had nothing to do with what they were.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're like,
He's doing
talking about like,
show.
He'll like ask him about a question about like No Way Out 2000, and then all of a sudden they'll like be talking about like Santa Claus, and like I'm like, what? How did this even happen?
Jesus Christ. Well,
Yeah.
let's stop getting into our own tangents and move forward, boys. So there was two other matches that were announced though for Hell in a Cell on Raw this week. It was Ali versus Theory, scheduled for the United States Championship at Hell in a Cell, and we also got the Judgment Day versus AJ Styles, Finn Balor, and Liv Morgan scheduled for Hell in a Cell. But yeah, there wasn't much to Raw. That was about it. That, you know, again, it's all coming together for Hell in a Cell. But let's get into Dynamite this week. It opened up with CM Punk and FTR teaming up versus the Gun Club and Max Caster. CM Punk and FTR ended up winning the match, and they cut a promo kind of together. And Punk basically ended up saying, calling to the back of who does he got as his opponent at Forbidden Door, and Tanahashi comes out. And so at this point in the week, we have Tanahashi versus CM Punk
at this point,
Forbidden Door.
Keep in mind, fans.
When we get into Rampage,
plans change. We'll get there.
That's the card subject to change.
Card subject to change.
Yes, but let's get into the biggest part of Dynamite this week, which was MJF's
maybe one of the best promos of all. I mean, I don't care
who wants to start.
I don't care who starts. I just wanted to say I think it's one of the best promos of all time.
I agree. Should we just try to summarize it? Does anyone want to try to summarize it?
He just told it like it was.
If fans know, he's been having grievances with his contract, and he basically, called all the fans marks and called out Tony Khan for signing ex-WWE wrestlers and them getting paid more than him, and how most of the people on his the AEW roster are untrained compared to him. A couple other things. He called Tony Khan a mark himself and said that he should be behind the barricade along with these fans. And he said, all the boys in the back that want my spot, he's like, you can have it because I don't want to be here anymore. And he told Tony Khan to fucking fire him and called him a fucking mark, like I said. And then they cut his mic. It was reminiscent kind of a CM Punk's pipe bomb promo, but way more intense. MJF being mad is a real thing about his contract. That is very real. I know Tony Khan gave him permission to do this, but I don't know how they're blurring reality with the show right now. I know they took him off of their website,
everything,
and his merch and the intro video. Yeah, he's off right now. So I don't know how they're working.
I just want to say this: but, he did the CM Punk pipe bomb, but he did it with the anger and the realness of a Shane Douglas, but the big one that comes to mind for me is Brian Pillman, where you're like, is this real? Is this not real? Like, that was the thing about Brian Pillman. He would be like, what's going on? Like, you'd be like, you're like, I know I'm getting worked, but like, am I? Like, you would be unsure, you know?
Yeah,
well,
that
Punk's was very clearly the storyline, and maybe he threw a couple quick like jabs in there to like, you know, just to make it a little bit more realistic. But this one, I was like, like every now and then you'll be like, you know, he's dropping the F-bomb on TNT in front of the partners. I mean, Tony Khan will just pay it fine. It's no big deal. I mean, but like, I'm like, ah.
Yeah, he's like, you'd be ashamed if something bad happened. There's a lot of important people here. I don't know. Right? It was fantastic, though. It was one of the best promos I've ever seen. Maybe the best.
Because it's
in
real.
recent
That's
history.
The thing. Wrestling, when it's like real, is always great.
And people, what I think is also true. Like, people have been saying, like, this was an actual like shoot. Like, he was actually had all the problems and everything, and so, for some reason maybe they figured it out, and now they're turning it into a storyline. Because I don't think he would let him out there doing that.
Yeah, dude, I've read his initial contract was only 70.
That's what the starter thing.
And you got to think, dude, $70,000.
That's more than the starters for NXT guys. Yeah. I mean, that's less also than now NXT guys.
MJF when they first started.
And now you have a guy like MJF who has like busted his ass. I kind of get. I mean, when I saw 70 or 100,
yeah, but you also have to think about that's the people who've never been on TV and they've been in indies and they took a chance on them to start this new company. Like, you can't pay them a lot, and also now he's being paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. They said. Well, yeah.
He's worth more, though. He's right. He's fucking right. In this promo, man, the fans went from booing to fucking cheering because they knew this guy was telling the truth. You also have to understand,
as far as the business goes, he might get a guaranteed 70 to 100, but then he's going to have that, and I believe it's called a downside guarantee, where he additionally would make money from things like action figures and merchandise, T-shirts, etc. So you have your money that you get, and then there's extra money that basically comes in that you get from other things. And when
but he's also the second highest draw minute to minute, which brings in advertisers for people to watch.
I'm not saying that he's wrong. I'm not saying that he's wrong. This is literally the same reason, not the same, but very similar to the reason why MLB was on a lockout this season. And I'm sorry to all the non-baseball people listening, but basically the players were signed to rookie contracts that were low money, and it was long term, and they were basically like, hey, we don't want to play for this amount of money like this long while we're in our prime. Let us get to that big contract while we're younger. And that is different, but I think MJF's like, I'm hot right now. Like, I'm doing awesome, and I'm making that like guy who just got here money. And I get what he's saying. He's probably annoyed because how much did John Morrison just get paid who walked in? I'd like to see that number.
I don't know. He has a contract that goes from time to time.
I'm just saying, besides Punk, who's the last WWE guy that just actually showed up and is signed?
Well, Ember Moon just came.
I bet you Keith Lee is making more money than MJF. I'm just throwing that out there.
Probably.
And they can't. But he's probably thinking like, look, in real life, he's probably like, look, Keith Lee, whoever, or his real name, is like a nice guy, but like, I've been here a while. Like, I should be, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then on the show, the MJF character is probably like, fuck this.
No, I get it.
Like, I should be making this money. So,
I did love how they did the ending to it. Yeah. Like, when he dropped that F-bomb, and then they cut away immediately, and the lights went out, and they went to commercial, and then they come back, and they act like it didn't happen.
He said, don't count me down, you son of a bitch.
He said, "Don't come out."
Yeah. Which is like perfect.
Yeah,
Because you're like,
even mention
was that supposed to happen then?
Well, we'll just have to see where it goes from here with all the cutting out of the openings and stuff. But let's move forward. Speaking of John Morrison, Johnny Elite had a match, and he said that he said he would verse anyone in the locker room, and it ended up being Miro, who has returned. I think he was
was doing like
a
shows and
movie
stuff
or something.
Hey,
but yeah, I mean, they had a good match. The winner was Miro. Johnny Elite has lost 2 times.
That's what he's
in a
used
row
for.
now.
so I know this is like super random, and I'm sorry,
Yeah.
like again, like going on like something that's not related to AEW, but I'm watching right now live is Asuka. Becky Lynch is wrestling somebody. I don't know this girl, and then Asuka's on the outside. But man, when I was watching the pay-per-view earlier today, I caught up on it. Like Becky Lynch looks like a completely different person than like from what I remember before. And I don't mean I'm not trying to say I'm not saying anything negative about like her appearance.
Yeah.
I just mean like whoa, like if you think about when she was coming out with like the ska music and or not ska music, but like the like had the goggles on and shit.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I know people change and like look different, but wow, it is striking.
Doesn't
Is
she
it
still have the same music?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still that. It's just
Yeah.
She's just
her character is
Conor
different.
McGregor.
Same music though.
Different.
She's just different. She's just different. Yeah.
Miro.
Yeah. So Miro is back. Let's see. We'll just have to see what they do with him now. Maybe
I mean, he
takes
destroyed
MJ's
Johnny
spot.
Elite.
I don't know.
Like, that's the mirror I wanted to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Miro had a good match right before he left. I think it was.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Bryan Danielson maybe was. There was a tournament.
Oh my goodness, Maurice.
Or was it Eddie Kingston? I don't know. Eddie Kingston and him had a. We'll talk about Maurice and stuff next week. Whatever Tim's watching on Raw. All right, so there was a JAS segment.
These segments just crack me up because I have no idea what's happening.
I want to talk about.
Yeah, with Jericho. Like, what is like?
Oh,
I guess he's going bald.
It's society.
Yeah, so the Jericho Appreciation Society came out, and Kingston and Regal end up coming out, and it's just them two, and JAS ends up attacking Eddie, and Ortiz then ends up coming out and cuts some of Jericho's shitty fucking hair. And they said that they want a blood and guts match, and it's going to be hair for hair. But first Jericho says, Eddie, it's going to be hair for hair. And that's like, what? Eddie has like no fucking hair. Why would you do that? And then they change it. It's going to be hair versus hair when it pertains to Jericho and Ortiz. Jericho,
we saw him bald
cut your fucking hair.
when we went to AEW.
Yeah, live. We could see it from our seats, your bald spot. We know
He's
you're
a huge fan of the show.
because you're a big time listener for our show. But he's a huge fan of the show. Jericho, cut your hair, lose this match, please.
Well,
So
the thing that was kind of
another one of your
disappointing was,
stupid
like
ideas.
they had Regal out there because remember in NXT he would always say War Games, and they had him say Blood and Guts. I'm like, that's not really the same feeling.
He's like, what if he was accidentally like, whoa,
Completely.
blood and guts?
Yeah. Because I was like thinking back, I'm like that kind of sounded good when like they were making fun of WWE calling them that, and now I'm like, now we're stuck with that name.
Yeah.
But yeah, that wrapped up Dynamite this week. There wasn't too much I wanted to talk about when it pertained to it. I'm going to switch it up, though, and go instead of SmackDown now, I'm going to go into Rampage, just because it ties into what happened on Dynamite. All right, so I don't know when CM Punk got hurt, but CM Punk got hurt, guys. Tim said, you said it was when he jumped over into the barricade.
He smashed his leg / foot
entrance
onto the barricade when he stage dive, and then when he got back on the ramp, he kneels down when FTR comes out, and he starts fucking with his foot. You can see it. He starts moving shit around, and then you can see him be like, "Oh fuck!"
Yeah. People have like a breakdown of this
broke his
entrance doing it.
Yeah, they like slow mode it.
Yeah.
So CM Punk
CM
Punk broke his foot, guys.
This
and
is the worst timing for everything.
And, you know, he's real emotional. It just reminds me of when, like, Finn wins the title, Universal title for the first time, and has to relinquish it. So CM Punk has to relinquish the title. You know, he's thanking the fans and basically, like, you know, he's not going to be done wrestling once he has he has to have surgery, correct? Okay, yeah, he says he's not going to be done. He'll be back, but that means his match with Tanahashi, the Forbidden Door isn't happening. So what's happening?
They explained it really bad.
Correct me if I'm wrong. There's going to be some kind of tournament, and the winner of that tournament faces Jon Moxley, who's the number 1 ranked guy, and that winner faces Tanahashi.
Because they horribly explained this on Dynamite, and everyone was like, "What is happening?" No.
Well, I'm horrible.
So it's a battle royale in the beginning of Dynamite to face Moxley in the main event, and then that person goes on to face or to fight for the title. But New Japan is having Tanahashi and I forget who the other guy is, but those two fight for the to qualify for the title match, which is going to end up being Tanahashi and someone else.
Oh yes, okay. So the winner of Moxley and someone versus the winner of Tanahashi and someone end up fighting for the AEW title.
And also it's an interim title because Punk's still the champion, they said.
That makes sense. So when Punk does come back...
And everyone posted those memes of him and Cena holding both the WWE titles. It's like, he's doing this again.
So this was supposed to be the summer of Punk, guys. And
so real quick about the injuries. It's Punk. Danielson just has a small injury, so it's not too bad. But Jeff Hardy, Cody, and wasn't there someone else?
And we'll get into Cody's
There's another person for AEW
when we get into Hell in a Cell. But
I forget who it is.
It's not good. That's all I know.
I can't think. If they are, they're not going to. It's not
good, guys.
So yeah, it sucks about CM Punk. I think I told you guys first.
Well, we still don't have Kenny
because I saw it on Instagram first. And I was like,
Kenny's the other one. Yeah,
we still don't have Kenny back.
Kenny, and there's
he's been having problems.
I haven't even heard a rumor
with, like surgery, and then it didn't heal right, and all this stuff. So,
oh man,
yeah,
I love Kenny. Get well soon.
Well, okay. That's the only thing on Rampage I wanted to talk about. But let's hop into SmackDown real quick before we get into Hell in a Cell. The one little thing I want to talk about SmackDown. There was a 6-pack challenge to see who the winner is to face Ronda Rousey next for the title. And the winner of the 6-pack challenge ended up being Natalya. Now, I don't know why this wasn't on Hell in a Cell. There was like one match on Hell in a Cell from SmackDown, if you guys didn't realize it. It was Madcap Moss, or now it's just Moss, and Happy Corbin. Yeah, I was talking to my buddy today. WWE loves one person named Ciampa.
You haven't heard this whole thing? Dude, Vince hates names.
No, we talked about it.
Vince, Riddle.
It's terrible.
Murphy. Like, he just takes away their first name and makes it something dumb.
I'm surprised Bobby Lashley isn't just Bobby now. Yeah.
I mean, it was Lashley for a while.
That's his real name. That's his real name, so they keep it. Yeah. I think so. I think that's his
Bobby Lashley. Dolph Ziggler tells a story of showing up at the Performance Center not the Performance Center, but OVW, and that
OVW or
he's
whatever.
like, I saw the name Bobby Lashley, so I'm thinking, okay, like, can't be that bad. And then he's like, I look over it, I see, what Bobby Lashley looks like, and I'm like, well, they're not picking me.
But yeah, so this Ronda match though with Natalya. Sorry,
you know what? You do you.
It just I don't even know though. Like, I saw it the other night, and I'm just like, they didn't even, I think it's announced for a SmackDown. It's been a long time since they've done like pretty much an all Raw or all SmackDown pay per view, but that's what this Hell in a Cell was. There was only one match on it that was SmackDown.
And they only had the Raw
Moss
commentary.
Corbin. So that being said, let's just get into Hell in a Cell. Great opener match. Triple threat for the Raw Women's Championship.
Yeah.
Tim wanted to talk about this. It was Asuka
Match
versus
quality,
Becky Lynch versus
I
Bianca
think this
Belair.
was a sleeper show. Like I would, at some point, I don't know about like right now because there's a lot of good things to watch. If anybody's a Star Wars fan, but at some point I would go back and watch these matches again, just because I thought the actual matches that were on the show were really good. And so yeah, let's talk about this ladies match here, which was just a great pro wrestling match, man or woman.
I think I called it last week when it was announced that it was a triple threat, saying that Asuka was going to end up being the one to take the pin. And she ended up taking the pin. Becky Lynch, I think, got thrown out of the ring, and Bianca ended up covering Asuka. Becky Lynch was, I think, supposed to be like Naomi versus Bianca or Sasha versus Bianca.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Stuff went down. Because one of them was supposed to face Ronda at some point, and the other was supposed to face Bianca. So, but this was a really good match. I really enjoyed it. You know, triple threats can kind of be weird
they would let
sometimes,
Asuka
but they did a good job with it.
Be more like this like every time, because like she is a very good wrestler, and like
she's
when she first started like in NXT, she was very dominant. Yeah. But now she does this like undefeated. I don't know.
She was undefeated. Yeah,
it's very sports entertainment now. That's basically how I can put it.
I mean, look,
Mm-hmm.
Corny gets called out all the time because people think that it's funny that people think that Corny is like this like Southern right winger dude when he's literally like the most liberal person ever if you know anything about him. But even he's like the stuff that they make her do, he's like, people tell me I'm racist. He's like, but goddamn, he's like the stuff that they like make, and I'm like, I get what he's saying. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But when she's just allowed to go and like just straight up wrestle and like do her thing and not have to like talk and like say the corny, she is freaking.
Yeah, she's one of the best in the ring. Oh, you mean like when they brought up Xia Li from NXT and they have her be like some warrior that defended her family and comes out with these
dude, bad.
The size or whatever they're called.
It's like the writing team just like writes every stereotype and like, should we go this one this time?
Or who did they just make Asuka randomly tag with just because they were both Japanese? Yeah. Like they were like, no, you guys are tag team partners now.
Like, you're both Asian, right?
Yeah. You guys are Asian, right?
Kairi Sane? Was it Kairi Sane?
Yeah.
The fuck?
Jesus. All right. Yeah, the match was good. Bianca
I was
Belair
surprised by that, but I loved all the false finishes.
After that,
point out, I'm a sucker for a good false finish, and there was a lot of good ones in this match. These girls are all three pros, man. Like this match was smooth. The wrestling was good. I enjoyed it as a fan. I really like this match.
And Asuka's double ankle lock, and I forget what else she did. Like, but that was pretty cool. The whole sequence.
Yeah.
After that, we had a match that I personally wasn't looking forward to. It was Omas and MVP in a handicap match versus Bobby Lashley. This was the best Bobby Lashley Omas match so far, and I think it's probably because MVP was in it, and it wasn't always just two big, strong guys going at it before. It wasn't a terrible match. It was the best one that they've done. No. Again, please just be done with it. Bobby won. Again, just you need these feuds every single pay-per-view every week. I think Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods have wrestled Sheamus and Butch and Ridge Holland 12 times now. Xavier Woods pointed out on Twitter. I think.
But Bobby after the match
11 times.
Oh no, I was just going to say, you know how Corey Graves, before him and Carmella started dating in real life, and Charlotte, he would always talk about how they were like goddesses and everything when they would like walk out to the ring. That's going to be me with Maurice now. Anytime Maurice comes to the ring, I'm just going to be like, my God. Chef's kiss.
Reese's. Yeah.
All right, keep her moving. Sorry.
All right, let's just get to the next match. Kevin Owens versus Ezekiel. I was super surprised with the winner being Kevin Owens, considering how much they've gotten to build this Ezekiel character, but they had him lose. And I texted my buddy last night, and Tim, you said it too. He's just one face paint away from being Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
What?
Put face paint on him, he's Ultimate Warrior. At least look
the same thing.
He's a better wrestler, but I don't know what his brother Elias has been up to.
Where do they go from this? Like, what do they just keep doing?
Ezekiel's killing it. Probably. They're probably going to have a match at SummerSlam too. Probably Money in the Bank, or
I'm like,
Money in the
Kevin
Bank.
Owens won, and now what he's going to keep being like he's not Ezekiel or he's Elias. Oh.
I don't know. Tim, what do you think Elias has been up to?
Well, I think he's been playing a lot of the guitar, probably. I think it's nice that he's probably getting to play a full song without getting interrupted, because I don't think he ever actually got to play a full song without somebody interrupting him. I don't like
Ezekiel
that.
has a Zeke freaks.
I didn't know that, and I don't.
That's
like
what he calls him. Also, change your gear.
No.
Salmon and white.
Why
Every
salmon?
week, salmon and white.
That's you're wearing naked.
Every week,
gear,
salmon
bro.
tassels.
Skin tone.
Come on.
God, it reminds me of that bagel that's like cream cheese and fresh salmon on there or whatever.
Yeah.
You've never seen that? Like
smoked salmon bagel. That's how we do it up here in New York.
Cream cheese and pink.
The smoked salmon bagel.
Yeah. Oh my God.
The smoke.
Yeah, the smoke of the salmon.
Every time Ezekiel comes on, now I'm going to think of that.
New York, though.
Of a smoked salmon bagel.
Good.
I'm starting to really crave a smoked salmon.
What you guys actually think of the match? What do you think of Ezekiel and him?
Man, the match is alright.
This was that, yeah. This was
nothing.
I mean, it was whatever.
Not
this
bad.
was like
It
my
was
match
whatever.
on the show. I was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
There was no terrible matches on the show. That's the thing.
I just don't really. I didn't care for. I didn't
nice
care
for
for
once.
the Elias character.
all right.
And I don't really care for this dude. He just doesn't. It's not that he does anything wrong in particular. He just doesn't do anything for me personally as a wrestling.
There's
fan.
nothing he
I'm
does
sure he's
do.
a nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah. His whole gimmick is that he's not
He doesn't do
alive.
anything.
That's it.
I'm sure. Look, I'm sure he's not superstar.
Not Elias.
You know what I
WWE.
mean? But he's getting paid well, so.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. He's making the best of a bad gimmick.
Think about like
Terrible
Fandango,
creative
dude. Like when
gimmick.
when he showed up there, he was probably like,
Oh.
all right.
Dude, I loved it when he was teaming with
Yeah.
Tyler Breeze and they were
Fashion Police.
Remember,
detectives and stuff, and they were that shit
Damian
was great.
Sandow when he used to copy
Fashion Police, yeah.
The Miz. Yeah.
Now he was funny. I don't know
That
why.
was great.
He had something.
Mizdow,
It was so
yeah.
dumb. Like it was only going to last a little bit longer. You could how many years?
He would do
how
the
many
moves on the
years, 'cause-
outside.
right. He would just take bumps on the outside by himself.
Dude, he'd be there. Lynch would fall.
Yeah.
He'd fall in the apron.
Miz.
Dude, it was great. All right, let's next match.
Whatever,
Don't
man.
just go off.
We're here to
guys.
talk
We just go
wrestling,
off
man.
the rails.
And you know what? I love
No,
I
I
love
know.
current stuff, but
I
you know,
know.
it's nice to like. It's crazy, dude. There's fun things to talk about that didn't even happen that long ago. Like to me, well, they did though. Like if you think about back to like the Shield and stuff, and like, I mean, and then stuff in 2015. I know, but it's
was
like
like 6
man,
years
like,
ago now.
AJ's been in the company like for a while, like
Yeah.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. You know, like
a minute now. Yeah,
time's flying, guys.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hardy's returned,
And
like,
they're already
4
gone
years ago
again.
or whatever. Like, had that
They're
done
already
now.
gone and in a different
Yeah.
company, and that company didn't even exist. Dude, that's crazy.
Speaking of, I don't like to talk about other podcasts on here, but Jericho's podcast just had the Hardys on. And they talk about Jeff leaving the match and like all that stuff, and knowing it was time to leave. And
And also,
if you're interested in all that,
real quick about
I
like
haven't
Jeff.
heard it yet, but
when you know
I'm
he got
interested.
hurt, you know he was almost knocked down the match on Double or Nothing.
Really?
Matt Hardy was like, he doesn't remember anything.
Oh,
from that
really?
match.
Wow.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'm like, and
Yeah, no
they
wonder
were
he wasn't
telling
in the
him the
tag match
spots
on
like throughout the
Dynamite
entire
last
match
week.
because he didn't know what to do. So they're like, do a swan song off of this. He was like, all right.
Fuck.
He's like, all right, let's do it.
It's like a drunk guy when you tell him to do something.
Like he had no
Holy
idea
shit, I
what he was
didn't know
doing. They're
that.
like, hey, you're gonna do a swanton from the stairs or from the road. He's like, all right.
He's like,
Yeah, if
I
you told
agreed
me
to
I'm
do this.
supposed
All
to do
right,
it,
if
then
you
I'm
say
gonna do
so.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
There's another
shit,
time.
that's
There's a
actually
triple
funny.
threat match. I think it's like No Mercy or I can't remember. Yeah, no, it's
Triple H and Edge.
Well, there's
Jeff Hardy.
that, but then
It's No Mercy.
there's one where it's Triple H, The Rock, and Kurt Angle gets knocked out right in the beginning of the match,
Yeah.
and they have a whole match, and Kurt Angle's like, I don't remember anything. Like, he's like giving people like belly.
Miz doesn't remember his
they're
match.
like, they're
Yeah.
like giving
with
each other
Cena
like
at Mania.
suplexes and stuff. He's like, I don't remember anything. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Kurt Angle's like belly to belly,
It's on
like
autopilot
belly to
or
belly
something.
people, like he's like, nope, don't remember.
He's unconscious doing it.
Yeah, that's what Triple H said. He's like, he's just out on his feet, just going. I was like, my God, it's crazy, man. Warriors.
All right, what
Where
was the
were
next
we?
match, Andy?
I want to get, into the next match because there was something I thought was going
You still want it to
happen with this next match, but it didn't. So the next match was Finn Balor, AJ Styles, and Liv Morgan versus the Judgment Day. The winners was the Judgment Day. What's your guys' thoughts on the match as a whole? A lot of moving parts. I know it's 6-man tag, but I thought everyone got to shine. Rhea was rocking some different gear. She's usually wearing the long legs, but
I think they're
just like-
looking better. The Judgment Day. Like at first, I was like, this is like a wish version.
Edge's hair is terrible. Edge's hair is the same as Rhea.
Yeah.
It's
At
the same as
first,
Rhea.
it was
They
like
have the
a
same
wish
barber,
version
same
of
haircut.
what's it, the an AEW. I forget the name.
House of Black.
House of Black. Yeah.
House of
now it's
Black.
like they're actually their own thing. I'm like, this is kind of cool now. Edge has made it like his own thing.
Well, Balor took the pin from Edge in the end, and I thought that Balor was gonna
Don't
turn
want it
on
to happen.
AJ and them and join. I still think he's gonna. That he's the fourth member. It could happen tonight on tonight's Raw.
I thought he was.
So
Yeah,
I
I thought
guess
he
we'll
was.
find out tomorrow.
I really did think he was going to
or
turn
later
on
tonight,
in this match, but I was happy to see that he didn't. But it just makes sense because he's going to be Demon Finn and he's going to have the paint. Come on, you know it's true. Come on.
So I like the match.
And he's gonna
It
be
was
like,
solid. It was good.
Boy, I'm a demon now.
I do like Finn and AJ on a team.
Sorry to our
right.
sorry to all
Next
of our
match.
Irish and Scottish listeners. I apologize.
Next match we had Moss, not Madcap anymore. Has a new gimmick, and it's just Moss and no more suspenders. Just
Yeah.
generic character number one. All black, just short tights and black knee pads, and yeah. Moss versus Corbin though in a no holds barred match. Winner in the end was Moss. He kind of got revenge on Baron for all the shit he put him through over the past couple weeks and put him out of quote unquote action for like 2 weeks, I think, and destroyed his Andre the Giant Battle Royal trophy. But yeah, I mean, Moss kind of had to win this, and I think their feud is pretty much over now.
Yeah, it's another one that I'm like,
As
it
it should be,
better be
but
over.
Enough of this shit. It better be over. So yeah, I mean, match was okay. Wasn't bad at all. Moss, they've really been pushing him, so, and fans seem to like him, especially when you put him up against someone like Corbin, who people hate. Unless they're just piping the crowd.
Suffering.
You don't know
People
anymore.
actually like
You just
him or
don't
not.
know.
Yeah, you really don't. Speaking of the crowd, though, our next match was Ali versus Theory, and this
And
was
his
in
family was
Chicago
there.
in Ali's hometown. And his family was there, and it was for the U.S. title, and they fucking are just burying this guy.
Yeah. Lost clean.
And, yeah, Ali lost. He tweeted out afterwards, all he said was, "I don't even know, man." That's all he wrote.
Like why bring him back on TV?
He doesn't even know anymore, dude.
It doesn't.
He's a very good wrestler.
He's a good wrestler, too. I was watching him. I was like picturing him if he were to go to AEW or somewhere else.
People
like,
are going to keep. This is a mistake. This is a mistake to publicly embarrass him because he's going to become sympathetic to fans. Yeah. So all of a sudden, it's going to, by accident, get him more over because people are smart enough to know that he sent that tweet out that he wanted to leave. And he made it public, so now they know what they're doing to him. Dude, people know. And I think that if he does leave and go to AEW, he's going to get the big, warm hug and reception. Yeah. Because he's been getting squashed for a year or whatever.
And he used to have matches on 205 Live with
Well, also
Buddy Murphy.
Don't forget,
really good.
He was about to get the big main event push, and then he got hurt, and then Kofi took his spot.
And then, Randy hurt him, and then Kofi
he was about to become
spot, and then he became part of Retribution. He was the leader of Retribution during the COVID era.
That was like Vince's idea of he's like, I hate young people. This is what I think they are.
Dude, LA Knight is now Max Dupree, and he's just a modeling agent, and he's going to sign T-Bar.
LA Knight was such a cool name.
Fucking Mace. But he's not even going to be a wrestler. They've just made him be like this fucking manager guy that's signing. I'm the owner of this hottest free agency. I'm just like, God, dude. You were actually entertaining down in NXT, and now it's like they almost gave him like a manager gimmick that they.
Can you imagine Adam Cole doing that?
But like he's got the size. I'm surprised Vince doesn't want him to like wrestle.
Dude,
LA Knight's like in good shape and can go, and he's a really good talker. I was just thinking
this is just like a funny like side story, and this seems to be the theme of the episode is side stories. So I think the name of the episode should be Injuries or Everyone's Injured and Side Stories. But just talking about oh God, who was the wrestler that you just brought up?
LA Knight?
No, someone before that.
Mason T-Bar, Mustafa Ali, Retribution.
I just cut that out. I don't remember what I was going to say. Keep her going.
Okay. All right. Our main event at Hell in a Cell was Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins in a Hell in a Cell. It was only Hell in a Cell match. It had been reported that Cody was injured, and he didn't get injured wrestling. He got injured lifting.
Yeah,
he tore his pec, I believe.
Straight up the bone.
So Seth Rollins comes out and he takes off his jacket and he's dressed in Dusty Rhodes polka dots. Nice little trying to
get to a man's mind to see if he could take him to the limit, baby.
Oh my God. Anyways, Cody comes out and takes off his jacket. And dude, I mean, everyone at home, I'm sure, was like me.
Yeah.
Everyone in the arena kind of got quiet. They saw this man's bruise from his pec, and Triple H had a similar picture out there,
but
like
at
one point when
during
he tore
the
his
match.
pec after it had happened. Oh. Yeah, but I was like, everyone's like, why is Cody wrestling? Why are they?
His
letting
arm
him out
was
here,
swollen. It was blood. You could see it. It was coming straight from his pec, going down to the side, down to his bicep, and his bicep was so swollen. It was scaring me. Scared the dreams.
Scared.
Anyway, so they worked around his bruise this entire match. He worked around his torn pec this entire match. He didn't really use his right side. He used his left. At one point, Cody breaks out a bull rope and ties it to his wrist and tells Seth to tie it on, which I think is like paying homage to Dusty Rhodes, if I'm not mistaken.
Of course
Tim.
it was.
The only thing with that spot, I was like, why didn't Cody just tie it on to Seth? Because he was like, put it on, and Seth was like, all right.
He was honoring me with a bull rope. Showing his daddy. Sorry. That was starting to turn into the water boy. Where he's like, it's me, Roboito. It's you. Ciao, Roboito. It's me, your daddy.
Bobby, it's me, your daddy.
I don't know if he can do that character anymore, guys.
That's what my Dusty was turning into.
That's his bed sheets over there. Excuse me, ladies. I'm going to go kill myself.
All right. I am 35 years old.
35 years
All
old.
right.
Captain say no, show no mercy.
Yeah.
The match, though. God.
No.
I enjoyed it. It was a good match. Props to Cody for fucking sticking it out. But man, we would have been all right after seeing that.
Yeah.
But to be like, hey man, you don't have to go out there. You don't have to do this. But they pulled it off. Props
The
to
comments
Seth
on
for,
Instagram were so
working around
funny.
it. Cody hit a pedigree at one
Yeah.
point. Cody hit a pedigree at one point, which
And he won with a sledgehammer too.
and stuff. Yeah, he won with 2 crossroads and then finished him off with a sledgehammer. And yeah, Cody won Seth Rollins versus Cody
Please
Rhodes
don't.
3. They don't need to do it again. If you ended a Hell in a Cell, what else do you do after a Hell in a Cell?
Yeah,
Stop it. No more. Even he was like, I'm done. But he has to be done because he's going to be off of TV for the next 5 months. They said he'll be back in about January.
The sledgehammer spots always crack me up because they hold the sledgehammer, then they hold the top of it with their hand, and they hit him with it. Which is like such a funny way of doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the match itself I thought was really good.
I think like one time Triple H like hit Shawn Michaels in the back with one that looked like he like murdered him. He didn't have where he didn't have the hand there. It just looked like he like paralyzed him right there. Oh man.
But so I think our next paper
we're
is
gonna be watching
Money in the Bank, if I'm not mistaken. I wonder what Cody's spot. I mean, maybe Cody would have been in the match. I wonder what they're gonna have to do.
Do you think they're gonna have someone win it, and then when he
things.
comes back, he's gonna like challenge that person, and then just get it from them?
Probably. I don't know. I know the Rock's schedule has no movies for next year, so he could be at maybe.
Yeah, next year, right?
There is no movie conflicts.
He's got enough money. He's like, I'm going to take a year off.
So we'll have to wait and see. But that wraps up Hell in a Cell and our Injury Fest
and all of our side stories.
Well, just you want to end on like another note that's we're going to talk about next week, anyways. But
yeah, let's do
John Cena is returned to Raw.
My God.
You know why? Because the ratings suck.
Theory. Jesus Christ.
Because it's horrible.
Anyways, on that note.
Positive. All right.
Just take us out.
Well, I suppose. Ciao.
Waboito.
All right. I suppose before we go off the air, we should say, please follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the PW Fan. And if you like Andy's Funko Pop collection, go to Instagram and follow at the 410 Fan Bros. Give my man a follow.
Laughing during that.
I didn't. I read it wrong. I said if you like Andy's Funko Pop collection instead of follow Andy's Funko Pop. Hey, you don't have to like it to follow it, just so you guys know. Yeah, and I think that about wraps it up for this week. We are the PW Fan, the channel where we love Maurice, but we hate Disco Inferno. And you join us next week
Oh my god.
for episode 39.